Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It is noon straight up, so I did want to thank you for attending today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day for this. We're going to be looking at a demo, CCC MyPath, specific to document gathering feature that's being launched. So Mike Crusoe is going to take us through a demo in just a few minutes. Some slight housekeeping first. Really sorry, folks. I do have some construction going on near my office, so I may mute in and out. This presentation is being recorded, and we'll distribute the recording links afterwards. We also are live captioning this event, so if you would like to see the closed captioning as we proceed, there should be a closed caption button similar to this one that's available to you at the bottom of your screen. And with that little bit of housekeeping, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mike Crusoe for his demonstration. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome, thank you, Sandoval. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Please let me know when it shows up.
We've got it, Mike. Thank you.
Okay, great. So once again, thank you everybody for joining us on your lunch hour. We've been doing these MyPath webinars for quite a while now, and I know the intent is that on a forward-going basis, they're going to be open to covering other tech center products than just MyPath. Although the first of these non-MyPath webinars is about MyPath. So thanks everybody for coming back and seeing some more about the product, because we're actually really excited to introduce some new functionality that we're calling the document gathering service. So what you should be seeing here is a test account in MyPath. This is just a pilot account that we do some QA with. And what I'm going to show you kind of are a few things today. We're going to talk a little bit about, excuse me, we're going to talk a little bit about the purpose of the functionality. We're going to talk a little bit about what the student experience looks like, which I'll show you here. I'll show you a little bit of the admin experience as well, so you'll have to bear with me as I kind of switch between screens to get into the admin experience. We'll talk about how you can do management of the documents you receive from your students. And then we'll talk about where this new feature is kind of in its development life cycle, and what can be expected and kind of what we're looking for from you. So to start with a brief overview, I guess about a year and a half ago now, we presented some MyPath stuff at the CCC Apply conference. And we were discussing MyPath as like an onboarding solution that can fit, either before or after the application, et cetera, et cetera. You guys are all pretty familiar now with kind of what the purpose of MyPath as a product is. One of the things that we heard from a lot of folks in the admissions groups that were attending the CCC Apply conference is that they have a problem collecting documents from certain kinds of students especially, right? So international students was the example that came up a lot at the Apply conference. And we thought that MyPath, given where it is sort of in the student experience as they are matriculating to college, is a perfect place to try to help solve for some of that problem. So this is our first stab at a document collection service in MyPath. There are already concrete plans to continue to enhance this even further than what we've got right now. But just to jump right into it, this is the way you can actually use MyPath to collect certain types of documents from students as a part of their onboarding experience. So in this example, we're just going to assume that a student has just applied to college and that they have arrived at MyPath following the submission of their application through CCC Apply. As you guys all know, when they get to MyPath, you configure a set of tasks that you want those incoming students to complete. You set up things like reminders to make sure that they're continuing to engage with the onboarding process. If they happen to close their browser because they need to go do something else and they come back the next day because they received a reminder, a reminder text message saying, hey, you haven't completed the career research step in your onboarding process, please come back and do that. One of the things that you can actually do now is set up those tasks in that onboarding experience in MyPath as a way to collect a document from a student. And the way it works is, let's say you want to collect, I don't know, some sort of a residency form from a student. You can create a task within a card that will trigger an upload experience. So when they interact with that task, they will get a prompt to upload a file. We want to make sure that we're keeping you guys safe there on your end. So we will virus scan every single file that is incoming from your students. We actually also have some file size restrictions on the files that are coming in as well. Right now it's set to 10 megabytes. As we see what kind of files students are providing, we can play with that limit as well. We just thought it was a good starting point. We explained to the students that they can upload files of the following types. So text files, CSV files, PDF files, etc. All of them are listed up here. And then we also have some restrictions around the file name as well, because we want to make sure that we are getting a file that is going to be intelligible by the admin who's going to be looking at these things on the other side. So student has a few options as far as how they can provide the file. They can choose a file from their hard drive if they happen to be on a desktop device, or if they're on like an Android device that has a file system underneath it. They can drag and drop it again if they're on like a laptop, and of course, like if they're on a phone that is they can take a picture of a file, and that is something that your college will accept. They can actually upload an image from their phone as well here. Once they've done that, and we'll just show you kind of how that works. We'll kind of show them that we're uploading it. We'll take it from them, and then we'll call it done. So if we go back over to the upload test, you'll see that this task is now marked complete. I want to point out that if we, for whatever reason, need to reject the file that the student has provided, because maybe we determined that it contained some sort of malicious contents like a virus, if it didn't meet the file size or file name requirements, or if it was the wrong file type, we will not mark this complete. And in fact, we will send them a notification as well, as you'll see we get here in this messages, that they have successfully, and of course you can customize the contents of these messages to say whatever you want. Hey, we successfully accepted your file, whatever, this is all up to you guys. We'll notify them, hey, we successfully accepted your file, congratulations. Or we rejected your file because of the following reason: it was too big, or it had a virus, or whatever, please try again, or please contact the college. So they will always at all times know that, where they are as far as like what has been completed on the upload tasks. If we are experiencing a high volume of uploads and it causes the file intake process to take a while, we'll actually color this yellow with an hourglass and give them another message that says, we've accepted your file for upload. We're still processing it. And then we'll send them a subsequent message saying your file was successfully uploaded. It passed all the tests. We send it to the college. So we try to keep the student informed at all times about how their upload process is working and how far along things are. Again, all of the things that have to do with this student upload task are able to work with existing MyPath features. So you can set up reminders on these tasks. Hey, you haven't uploaded your residency form. Please come back to MyPath and do that. You can set it to rules. So like an example of a rule that might apply here is if you have athletics at your college, and let's say a student needs to fill out an NCAA clearinghouse form, or an NCAA clearinghouse waiver form to be able to participate in athletics. While it would make sense that you would want to display that kind of a task to a student who has expressed interest in athletics, so you can set up a rule that says, if on the application they said, I'm interested in athletics, show this task. You would then not show that upload task to all of your other incoming students, because obviously you don't need that kind of a form from them. All right, so bear with me here now, because I'm actually going to stop my share. I'm going to log out of MyPath, and I'm going to log back in as an administrator so I can show you how this is set up. And Sandoval, if you wouldn't mind, because I can't see the chat while I'm doing this, can you please let me know if we're getting any questions?
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. If anyone in the audience has questions for Mike, please push them into the chat window. We will be monitoring and attempting to answer all questions as we proceed. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. You see my screen okay, Sandoval?
Got it.
Great, perfect.
Yep. Yeah.
Right, so this is our standard sort of MyPath administrative tool set. Don't mind all of the advisor cards we have configured in this test account. Obviously, this is many more than most colleges will ever use. But we'll take a look at the upload test card, because that is where we were demonstrating the functionality on the student side. And I want to point out that one of our continuing sort of core concepts for MyPath as we design it is trying to make sure that the configuration and administration of the tool set is as simple as possible, and that it does not necessarily require, basically work from your IT team to make changes if you choose that you want to, make some configuration changes in MyPath. So this, again, is an extremely simple process to set up, a document collection task for your students. And keep in mind that you can have as many of these, configured as you'd like. But here we're editing the upload test card. All the same things are here for all the other advisor cards. So, the title, the description, the why and the what for the students that click down into the drill down view of the advisor card. You can set up custom messaging that gets sent out from the reminders by checking this box, set up the reminders themselves by checking these boxes. All of this is existing standard functionality. This is nothing new. What is new though, is here when you're creating an individual task, you now have a few options. So as the product exists today, the one that everybody is using or considering using, link is the only option. And what that does is it means the task will point the student to a specific link. That can be inside MyPath, it can be outside of MyPath. That's just the way things work today. The two new options that have arrived with the document gathering service are the upload and download options. So we'll explain what each of those means. Upload is the functionality you just saw me demonstrate. So if you set a task to upload, what will happen when a student interacts with that task is they will get prompted to upload a file. You actually have the opportunity here with this new form field to assign a document category to the file that is uploaded. So keep that in mind, because I'm actually going to show you what that means in a little bit when we look at the actual list of documents that have been provided by students. But it is an extremely handy tool for the management of files coming in from your students. The other thing you have the option to do is a file download. So if you have a file that represents like a form or something that you want your students to fill out, and you don't think that they probably have that form handy, you want them to download a blank version of it, fill it out, and then re-upload it in a filled out state to you. You can actually provide that blank form here in the download. So if you actually set a task to download, you can choose a file from your hard drive as an administrator and say, this is the NCAA clearinghouse form I need you to fill out. And when a student interacts with that task, what will happen is they will actually download that form onto their local device where they can fill it out and then provide it to you on a separate task that you have configured as upload. So again, going back to the example of athletics, an example of a way an athletics card might work is step 1, download the NCAA clearinghouse waiver blank form. Step 2, upload the completed form once they've done so. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody.
Hey, Mike, we have a question from Golden West College in the chat window. Someone uploads a document and we identify that it is needed for a program. Will we receive a report on students who completed the task or who are still needing a document to submit?
So let's talk about that at the end, because we actually have some other news that we'll be sharing kind of later on. But it's a really good question that I got asked.
Sure.
Okay, so and the last thing I'll show you before we flip over to the last piece of the demo is that we do actually collect all of the files that you have uploaded for student download, and you can use any of them here. So when you're configuring a task and you've uploaded a file, just pick that file that you just uploaded off of this pick list, and that will be the file that is then downloaded by the student in a download task. Okay, so now that you've kind of seen the way MyPath gets configured to handle all of that, we're actually going to switch over to work docs really quick. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen one final time. Can you see it okay?
Yeah, we got eyes on. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so this is a product, an Amazon product. It was an easy choice for us to make for the first version of this functionality because we obviously use a lot of Amazon technologies to power MyPath. But it is called Amazon Work Docs. And if you choose to incorporate the document gathering service into your MyPath student experience, which of course, like everything else we offer, is free, we will set your college up with an account in Amazon Work Docs. When you view Work Docs, you will only be able to see files for students that were interacting with your MyPath account. You will not see files from students from other schools, of course, just to be clear about that. I'm logged in as an administrator, so I'm actually seeing multiple MIS codes, but you will see a view that looks kind of like this. So we'll show you a list of students who have uploaded files. These are all test students, and these are their CCC IDs, so it's easy to find them if you need them. I'll show you a little bit about the search functionality later on too, because that's pretty slick. Let's take a look at this one. This is the list of files that have been uploaded by this student. One of the things I want to also point out as well is that within MyPath, you actually will have the opportunity to configure an email address that will receive a notification each time a file is uploaded by a student in MyPath. Obviously, I would recommend that you not use any of your personal email addresses, because if this is something that a lot of students are doing for your college, that email address is going to get a lot of notifications from MyPath that a new file was uploaded. That email that is sent to your college will have a link to Amazon WorkDocs. You can log into Amazon WorkDocs and then view the files that have been uploaded by your students. So a couple things that I want to talk to you about this. So this is for a given student with this CCC ID. This is all the files that have been uploaded through MyPath. There are 3 pieces to each file name here. So the middle one here is the MIS code for your college. The last one is the CCC ID. So even if the student did not include those pieces in the file that they uploaded in the file name, we will automatically append them onto the file name just to make it very easy to understand what it is that you're looking at. Now the other piece is dynamic. So that's this first piece here. This is test 1C. What will appear here, if you have not configured that document categorization name that I showed you earlier in MyPath, if we go back over here, this piece right here where you set the category, this will just be the file name that the student provided. If you do, however, put something in here like, let's call this residency form or something like that, then what you would actually see is residency form here. And so what that does is when you've got a student that's uploaded, say, 5 or 6 files, you want it to be very easy to pick from the list which file it is that you're looking for that student. So if you have a category set like residency form or NCAA clearinghouse waiver or transcripts or whatever it is you're collecting from a student on a given step, you can then look at the list of files and very easily say, oh, this one's the transcript. Oh, this one's the residency form. Oh, this one's the water bill, or whatever. Choices are endless, really. It's completely configurable by you. And then once you want to actually interact with that file, you can click on it, and you have a few options. This is, of course, just a sample file, but what you see here is actually a full preview of the file that the student has uploaded. So if there were a large image in here, you'd see the image. If this was a form that hadn't been filled out, you'd see the entire form, et cetera, et cetera. From here, of course, you have options to download, to flag it for other admins to come in and take a look at things. You can actually grab them and download them en masse, et cetera, et cetera. We'll actually provide you with a training document that describes how to use WorkDocs. But just to be clear, access to this is free. It comes with your access to the document gathering service if you choose to turn it on. And one last thing I want to make sure that we talk about as well. So let's grab what was one of them? Call this Canvas. So there is also a very nice search feature here as well. So even if you're looking at the full list of all the students, this list could be quite large. If you're just looking for a set of specific files, you can type in Canvas, and we'll actually drill down into each of those folders for you and show you the files of that type. Similarly, you can put in a student's name. Similarly, you can put in a student's CCC ID, and it would give you all the results that match those things. So the search functionality here is actually very powerful and good if you're just looking amongst a very large list for a specific document. Okay, so that does it for the high-level document gathering service overview. Again, this is a piece of functionality we're very excited to start getting in front of the colleges so that you can start giving us feedback about the way you would like to see this working. But per the question earlier, I do want to also give a little bit of a preview of some of the things that we have coming for this. So one thing I want to point out is that we are now working with Project Glue to identify a list of colleges that have both Glue adapters and MyPath so that we can help you sync the status of MyPath tasks with fields in your SIS. That effort is now underway with the new fiscal year. So if you are a college that is interested in having MyPath status automatically synced to your SIS so that we can share information about where a student is with their onboarding process, including the status of a document upload with your local systems, please, by all means, reach out to us, tell us you're interested, and we will include you in the upcoming meeting we have to begin gathering requirements from the colleges and talking about how the testing of that will work. That's the first piece. The second piece is that, like I mentioned earlier, we do have some additional functionality coming for the document gathering service that is going to expand it even further. And the two things I want to mention are that we are currently exploring offering either an API or a locally deployed document management system connected to this feature, so that you can actually automatically retrieve files from MyPath and from Amazon WorkDocs and deposit them, onto, if we choose the API option, onto a document gathering or a document management service that you have deployed locally already. Or if you don't have one of those, we might be able to offer one that we can deploy for you, so you can do all your work there locally. Again, those are details we're still working out, but if that is something you're interested in, again, please let us know. And the last piece is that we also have an additional way to collect information from students coming as well, and we're calling it MyPath Web Forms. So the way that'll work is you can actually create a custom questionnaire in MyPath, or as many custom questionnaires as you would like, that students will fill in. And then when they push submit, we will turn that into a data file and then deliver it to your college just like it were a document that had been uploaded, right? So an example of that would be like if you wanted to have like just a purely data version of like that, NCAA clearinghouse form, just again, using that example, you could ask all the same questions on that form. We could collect them all from a given student. Student will submit them, and then we will deliver it to your college in the same way that we deliver other documents, just to make it easy to collect certain pieces of information from students that you might not otherwise be able to collect from them. In of course, an onboarding process that we know all of your students are going to be hitting right after the application. So again, that is the 10,000 foot overview. I really hope that some of you guys are interested in helping us pilot this functionality. We're very excited to offer it to you. And I will just keep an eye on chat for questions from here on out.
Hey, thanks very much, Mike. Definitely looks like a robust tool set. I want to make sure that we were specific about answering Golden West's college question, and I believe that I saw a demonstration. I saw this as part of the demonstration, but it just want to confirm that it is possible to receive a report on students who completed the task and use the nudge system or other parts of the tool to notify folks or incoming students that still needed to submit a document.
So the way it works right now is we will notify the college at the email address you configure each time a file has been uploaded. We would rely on the glue functionality that we're currently underway developing to actually make updates to the local system, notifying that system of the status of that document for that student. If there is an additional type of report that a college is looking for, we are looking for those kinds of requirements, and we are looking to provide those kinds of reports. Again, because Zoom is a little bit of a tough place to deliver those kinds of requirements, please go ahead and reach out to us. We can very easily add that to our list of requirements, because we know that this is the first time a lot of colleges have seen it. We kind of fully expected there's going to be some additional things that we need to build into this to make it so that colleges want to use it. So please reach out to us. I have a note to look at that report on my end, and we'll take a look at that. Sandoval, I see some other questions in here too, so I'm going to go ahead and respond to them. So I see here, how compliant is this with the accessibility standards that the whole system has to follow? We fully review all of our new user-facing functionality for compliance with system-wide accessibility regulations, which is the WCAG standard. So we have tested this UI already, and it did pass all the accessibility tests. So I'm pleased to say that it is accessibility compliant. For notification to the college when a document is received, can each document have a unique email address? That is an excellent question, and not one that we had considered. Right now, we just send all notifications to a single email address. If that is something that you would need or something you would like to see, again, please reach out to us, because we would be interested in having a conversation with you about how you would use like a multiple email configuration system like that. But yeah, we're open to offering something like that. Oh, and actually, you know what? There is one other thing I should probably mention. This functionality is in the pilot environment. So if you are a MyPath college now, and if you would like to go in and start playing with the way that this works, it is available in pilot. So you can log in there and have a look.
That's great information. Thank you, Mike. For all the attendees, I do have a slide up here that should be visible to you. That first bullet is ready to sign up. However, we can extend that to say ready to participate in the pilot environment for this document gathering tool, or to otherwise provide input. This first CRMS at ccctechcenter.org is a great point of contact for your school. Each college has a college relationship manager assigned to the college, and that person is there to ensure that the technology center is meeting your standards of customer service. They are also the main touch point for starting the process of getting involved with piloting and otherwise providing input to the development of these products. I also want to bring your attention to the URL here. There is a website, cccmypathproject.org, which has a collection of information about the CCC MyPath product. All right, Mike, looking at the chat window, there's another question for you there.
Let's see, if a student is working from their phone and does not have a digital file for upload, do you have a tool built in to take a photo with your phone to upload a document? So the way it kind of works right now is if you hit browse on your phone, it will actually bring up your photographs, at least on the iPhone testing that I've done personally. If there is a more intuitive piece of, or kind of user experience that we can offer by incorporating an additional service like that Microsoft Lens that you mentioned, again, these are things that we're highly open to exploring and implementing. The goal for MyPath, of course, is they will continue to be totally functional on a phone. And so we would be very interested in looking into that and adding it in if we think that the existing experience is not sufficient. But to be clear, these are the kinds of questions that we were looking for, right? We want to think about what the colleges are looking for out of this tool so that we can go ahead and add them in as we go.
Sure. Just to be clear, though, Mike, I mean, during your demonstration, I heard you say that the college does have the option to accept JPEGs, for instance, and other image files. So even in its current configuration, a student could take a picture of a document and submit that, just potentially not through an app at this point, correct?
That is correct. It would just be part of like the standard sort of like phone operating system.
Through a specific app is you know what I mean. So okay, thank you. Another question in the chat window, Mike.
Yep. So it looks like the question from Chantel is whether MyPath can be used to route students to an online orientation. The answer, of course, is yes. All of the tasks that are configured in MyPath as onboarding steps are completely configurable by you, and by you I mean the college, obviously. So if you point one of those tasks to an onboarding solution that is somewhere else, or an orientation solution rather, that is functional. And because we do offer SSO, or rather support SSO with each of the colleges, students should not need to maintain multiple sets of credentials or anything like that. It should just log them into the orientation product you're sending them to.
Mike, a couple more questions there.
Yeah, so I'll actually address that second one first. That email address that's on the screen right there, that's crms@ccctechcenter.org. Please just send your suggestion in there and they'll get it routed to the right folks. And in this case, the right folks are me, but once it's in my email inbox, it'll be easier for me to address. Let's see, and any update on AB 705 placement in MyPath? Right now we have a functional AB 705 sort of tool that can display placement results to a student. That's been tested and it is functional. We are currently still in conversation with the Chancellor's office about the way they would like to support it as a system-wide tool or what their plan is there. So while I can say that the functionality we talked about a while back has been tested and it is functional, like in an initial sort of phase kind of way, we are still sort of in conversation with leadership to find out what the plan is for a system-wide solution there.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Really appreciate the demonstration of the incoming tool. And again, for those that have joined us, again, our thanks. And I just want to highlight that, you know, MyPath was not developed in a vacuum. It was developed through intense outreach and involvement of faculty and personnel and leadership statewide within the California Community College system. So the MyPath tool and the evolution of the MyPath tool that we're seeing with features like document gathering, you know, these products and services are developed by the colleges, of the colleges, and for the colleges. So this is, you know, this is really, I just want to extend the opportunity to you to be involved as much as your time allows, and to really help Mike and the product team to shape this tool into, you know, a very college-specific, highly functional tool that supports the student experience in the professional manner that the colleges deliver on an ongoing basis. So let's see, I've got 12:31 right now on the Microsoft clock. I'm going to leave it open for about 4 more minutes till 12:35. If anyone has any late questions here, please push them into the chat window, and Mike and I will stand by for a few more minutes. I will repeat again that this webinar was recorded and will be posted most likely to the CCC MyPath project.org website. So it will be available for you there. We will send out notice via the various distribution lists that we use to get the word out. So gonna let it go for about 3 more minutes, folks. If you do have any late questions here, please just get them into the chat window and we'll respond. Otherwise, I'll end the webinar at 12:35. Okay, everyone, we're not seeing any more questions in the chat window. We, once again, certainly thank you for joining us today, and I appreciate you spending part of your lunch hour with us. I encourage you to get involved with MyPath product development as your time allows, and we appreciate your attention today. I'm going to go ahead and bring this recording to an end. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.